This is a previous recording of Church Johnson and Friends.
Welcome to Church Johnson and Friends podcast. Today's guests are Quanah Mitchell. She holds a master's in mental health and rehabilitation and counseling. Nina Wilson, a bachelor's in psychology. And Christina Blacken, she's a writer herself. You should go check out her website, The New Quo. It's an awesome website. She writes awesome articles. And the reason why I named this podcast Justice versus Peace is because I feel like we can't get both at the same time. It's either one or the other. And I asked these three smart women to tell me their emotions and their opinions on the two deaths that we experienced last week from Alto Sterling and Philando Castile. I really want to know their opinion and their emotions, what went through their mind when they heard it, when they seen the videos, and also for them to talk about justice and peace. So I hope you enjoy this too.
The government will not be killing me. No, the government will not be killing. The government will not be killing me. No, the government will not be killing. The government will not be killing me. No, the government will not be killing. The government will not be killing me. No, the government will not be killing.
Yeah, so I want to start off with basically talking about how this is really ridiculous. I feel like it's insane for you to put a gun out on somebody while he's pinned down to the floor and you just shoot right over his chest. And as you watch the video, you see the blood leaking underneath him. Unless he's John Wayne or RoboCop, there's no way in the world this man's pinned down to the floor with his one hand pinned down and probably his other hand pinned down, or even if his other hand was free, no way in the world he's gonna do a shoot both of y'all like he's in the freaking Western. Like, what's going on here? The training, they just need to have to do more intense training in these other states. I know NYPD have some intense training, and I understand that NYPD, like even in New York, like that's where I'm stationed at. You realize that they have people that they take from like Long Island or from Staten Island, and they place them in the hood, and they're the ones that's acting super tough, and they're the ones that just have no respect for African American males, these white guys, because they've never seen a hood before and they don't know how to act, so they're trying to fit in. We know who's from the hood. We know who relates to us, because why? The cops that's from the hood talk our language, and they have more patience, and they don't reach for their gun, and they don't reach to always arrest you. They can talk it out. Why? Because they understand you and they can relate to you. And that's the difference. Stop putting police officers that live in suburban areas in the hood. Not saying that they don't have a right to have a job, but they're scared. They're so scared that they're quick to shoot. Without grabbing mace, without grabbing a nightstick, they're quick to shoot. No lie, I'd rather you hit me with a nightstick, God forbid, or mace me, than you shoot me. So these cops are so scary that they're playing judge and jury already off the back. And that's messed up, because two lives are gone because of that. And then when cops die, it's a big ceremony. It's a big tragic event. And they're so heroic. And they tell you their life story and everything. Like, come on. Like, that's another thing I'm getting tired of. Every time a cop die, he's a superhero. But every time a black man die, he has a list of records. Like what's the odds of that? And it's becoming a problem. Like, it's becoming a problem within the South. Like, it seems like it's only just black men that's dying at the hand of a gun of a white man. And there's countless videos of white people. If you ever look, YouTube it, be my guest. If you ever look, there's countless videos of white people swinging back, white males fighting back with cops, hitting them, swinging, and they not even getting maced, and they getting away. And they actually, you know what they're doing? They getting away with so much that they can go to their little barbecues afterwards when they let go for parole or something and talk about their story. Black males don't get that same chance. They never get that same option. They either killed before they even say I, killed before they even reach for the ID. And it's not all cops that's bad, but the ones that are bad need to be put underneath the jail. And that's how I personally feel, because I have friends as cops, and they're not bad. It's just the ones that are bad, they just need to be put underneath the jail. And I don't think anybody should be killed, cops or whoever. That's not right. I'm not one of those people that, okay, I'm going to glorify cops being killed, but mourn black people losing their lives. I'm going to mourn for both, because nobody should be getting killed. That's the point. It's communication that's lacking here, because if communication was strong here, nobody will get killed. Everybody will still be alive to tell their story. And if you look around, there's just majority, like it's just crazy how the world is working right now. Because if this remain like it's like if we continue to keep this attitude that things won't change, right? Because I feel like some people have this attitude like things don't change. I hear that sometimes. Things will never change. Things will never change. When you keep saying things don't change, do you even try to make things change? No, because in your mind you already have it set that things won't change. So that's why some people need to self-educate themselves, or educate themselves even more about laws and rights and awareness about their worth. Because if you do that, maybe you'll understand that you are worth something, and you don't have to, like, you stop believing in the impossible. Like, I mean, well, I'm saying it wrong. Stop doubting the impossible. Like, start believing in the impossible, because it's not really impossible. Just that we just not rallying up together. And the thing is, we're not organized. That's the difference between us and Indians and whites and any immigrant, that anybody that comes from another place to the United States. They're more organized. They're more structured. Even if they fight, and they're more organized. And that's the problem. We're not. And I don't know why. And that's a big problem. We rather pay for Jordans than we do anything else. We rather put money, don't get me wrong, we rather put money in a man's hand that believe in, fun and jails, or you rather just save enough for your family and building generational wealth. And that's the problem, because whites make up 33% of New York City population, and 54% of that is NYPD. Blacks make 23% of the city population, 16% of that is NYPD. Hispanics 28% and 24% NYPD. Asians 13% population in the city of New York, and 4% NYPD. So you see the gap there, right? You see it's more whites than anything, right? But that can change. I don't care about having a black mayor, black commissioner, because they can be black but be anal. Like, you know what I mean? The race don't dictate the new the new trend of leadership. It's really the upbringing of the person that understands the hood, the person that, not even the hood, the person that understands black people matter. And that's the problem. We don't know if these leaders really understand, do we matter? They matter. Do we matter only when we get killed? Do we matter only when we, like, you know what I mean? Like I want us to matter when we do something heroic. But instead, they can blame us for World Star or stuff like that, because when we scream out World Star, we never do nothing nice. Only time we scream out World Star is something that you see something bad happening. That's why people that post fights and all that on first of all, they don't exist no more on my timeline. They used to. I get rid of them. Why? Because I don't want to see that. That's negative. Like, who wants to see that? And that's another thing. I'm not pointing fingers like I'm better than anybody else, but for now on, instead of pointing fingers at somebody else, point at yourself, right? You only can control your future, right? So I say, with that being said, I say, try to create general wealth. Try to self-educate yourself. Try by any means to educate yourself, because the more you read, the more you educate yourself, the harder it is for them to continue. The harder it is for somebody to grab a hold on you, to put you away and to hold you captive and keep you enslaved in your mind. And that's the difference. We're not slaves no more, but a lot of people are enslaved. And a lot of people are controlled. Because why? Because they can't get past these mental blocks of knowing their wealth and knowing their worth. And I like, from watching those two videos, I realized there's a lot that we have to learn. There's a lot that we still need to learn, because we can rally up together, but for how long? Like, Black Lives Matters, there's other organizations out there too. But I feel like we just need to be organized, right, with each other. We need to to stand at the forefront and let our voices be heard, not giving up, not having a belief of nothing's going to change, because with that belief, nothing will change. So I'm just torn up about like the videos that I've seen last week. I feel like it's unfair. I feel like you shouldn't just shoot somebody just because you're scared. Like I'm pretty sure, like, and what broke my heart is with the Philando Castile one is just when his girlfriend, was in the car. She was so calm, and she had to watch her boyfriend die. Like just died. The daughter had to watch her father die. And then when she finally broke down, if you look later on in the video, a 4-year-old turned around and say to her, "Mommy, it's okay, I got you, I'm here for you." Like, what? You're 4. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this could have all been prevented if you just would have let him get his ID and just relax. Why would he, like, off the back, you think he's going to shoot you and just peel off? Like, come on. So, like, certain stuff like that. And then for the fact that she said that when the other cops came, they grabbed and held the other officer while he cried and weep, but left the dead body in there. Like, who does that? Like, who? Like, some stuff just don't add up, and the shit is whack. It's really whack when you look at it. It's whack because we have to sit back and watch us die. Like, we keep watching us die. I show me a video when you see white people get shot by cops. I bet you the number is still lower than black men. Show me that. Show me. And it's sad because they trying to kill us. They're trying to kill us off. That's how I personally feel. They're trying to kill us off because they feel like we're growing too much. We're getting smarter. And you could do whatever you want to do, but we're still gonna be here. And God forbid, if those two cops or 3 cops get away with murder, I guarantee. Oh, 2 cops. Sorry, if those 2 cops get away with murder, I guarantee you, there's gonna be a worse riot than Rodney King joint. For real, because a lot of people's fed up. A lot of people's upset. Like, we having entertainers upset. We having regular Joe Schmo folks upset. Like, you think it's not going to be an uproar? And I swear they need to be made an example of, because we're tired of seeing cops get away with this. Oh, they fire you from your job, but you still alive. I mean, need to be alive. Sorry. They fire you from your job, but you still get pension. Like, what? No, nothing. Like, you're good. Like you're good because you're killing people. Like, anybody else would have been underneath the jail. Homeboy that did the church, like, they paid him out to be a saint even after he killed people. Like, so it's like, some things are just not well thought out. Some things are just premeditated. Well, it is well thought out. It's premeditated. But the media is not well thought out when they give you the news, because some of the news, they just want to report so bad. They want to paint somebody as a villain and a good guy so bad that they just can't. It's a blur line. They can't see what's really happening sometimes. And it's sad because you have to sit back and, like I said, and watch this over and over and over and over again. And I thank God that I don't have to talk no more about this topic, because it's really, like, it's disturbing to me. But my 3 lovely other guests had the opportunity, and I'm gonna let you speak, Q. I'm gonna let you tell me how you feel about the events of last week. Please tell me.
I really feel like that is not the appropriate tag for it, because it's not even black against police, or rather police against black, because there's no real equal battlefield, you know. I feel like social media is just bringing more light to what has been going on to the black community for many years. Social media, without it, I feel like without social media, we wouldn't really have gotten a better understanding of what's been happening to our community, black men, even women for that matter. I feel like if we had more community police officers, like they did back in the days where police officers knew who lived in the neighborhood, we might not have so much police shooting our black men. because the police officers will be able to identify the good men versus the bad, or those who should be there versus those who are trespassing. It's sad that they see black skin and automatically they're afraid. Like, if you're afraid to see a black person, then I feel like police officers are really in a bit wrong profession. Not all black men are violent, just like not all white men or Chinese or whatever the case are non-violent. I feel like we are judged by the color of our skin, and at some point in time, maybe in year of 2045, we'll be able to see a difference. But right now in 2016, I feel like things are going to continue to just get worse. Like, I'm afraid. I have a brother, I have cousins, I have uncles, I have my boyfriend. There's a lot of black men who surround me, and to think that at any moment in time they can be out in the street, in front of the grocery store, at a gas station, walking in a park, whatever, and be judged by a police officer because of their color of their skin. And at any time that they might be the next ones who could be taken, their life could be taken away from their loved ones and communities.
I agree with you, Q. I believe that if we have more of a community police officers policing our neighborhoods, there'll be more of an understanding. I do also believe that the change is not going to happen right now. It's going to happen later on, but we have to start now so we can see a change later on by 2045, like you were saying. It's sad. It's sad that off the rip, they're gonna always think that every black male is violent, or every black male, just like the Google search thing that they had. When you Google black people, they show us being locked up or having fights or something. But if you Google white people, they show them at graduations, birthday parties. Like, you feel me? So it's like there's already a stereotype type like themes that they have in their mind about us, and we have to erase those themes. We have to get rid of those themes, because at the end of the day, not everybody's like that. Not every black person is violent. Not every black person is ratchet. Not every black person likes certain stuff that the media portray us to like, the stuff that we like. And not every white person is innocent. At the same breath as I'm saying this, I say in the same breath, so I'm saying this, I say, like ratchet TV don't do nothing to help black women. Like, it doesn't do nothing to help black women. It employs people with jobs for looking like idiots. That's the most that ratchet TV do for me, right? Meaning, like, when I watch it, that's what I see. In order to build a generation of smart people, you have to surround them around it. You have to feed it to them. You have to show them on TV the types that we are. Like, why can't we have intellectual types on TV? I'm not saying that we don't have them. We do. But we need more of those. We need more of those type of characters. We need more of those type of roles, because when people start seeing that, hey, there are black people out there. Like, even there's kids that get inspired by movies and feel like they could be that person. So without being a superhero, let them know they could be something else. They can be a doctor. They can be this. They can be that. They can be creative. They can be not judged for being who they want to be as a damn human. Like, you know what I mean? So I definitely agree with what you're saying, Q. My fault, Nina. I know you had something to say too. I just had to chime in and say some stuff because I feel like Kwana kind of hitting the nail on the coffin with the community police and some of the changes that we have to see and we want to see, and what the things we have to do. So I just had to just go in and say some stuff about that. But go ahead and say what you have to say. I'm sorry, interrupting you.
So the oppression of African American men and women as a people in the United States is unfortunately, it's not a surprise. It's something that happens every day. We feel it every day. But then you see a headline, oh, this person has been shot by the cops. And in 2016, it's truly unfortunate that this is not a surprise. This is not something that makes people gasp, like, oh, I've never heard of this before. What's going on? This is the 506th time, according to the Washington Post, that this has happened solely in the year 2016. That does not include the amount of deaths that we were made aware of, not to mention the ones we weren't made aware of, that occurred in 2015 and every other year since then. What are our legislators and people in power actually doing to curtail this problem? Absolutely nothing, as far as I've seen. You have cops walking around with body cameras that are quote unquote falling off. Excuse me? Falling off? No, that's an unacceptable reason. Where is your body camera? I want to know why you felt the need to pull a man over because of his tail light, and this man ends up dead a couple minutes later with his 4-year-old in the back seat. This is so unacceptable. The systemic oppression of African American people in this country is still an issue, to the point where you wonder, what did civil rights even really do? Our ancestors, and for all we know, our grandparents, maybe even our parents, struggled to have freedom in this country, and here we are. It's 2016, it's the 21st century. We're still not free. I don't feel comfortable walking down the street sometimes. Every time I pass a cop, I get nervous. What if today is my last day? You never know when it's your last moment. And who wants to be reduced to a hashtag? You should never be reduced to a hashtag. You are a person, not a hashtag, not an animal, not something to be gunned down because a cop is feeling bad today, or because you have a weapon that you are legally licensed to carry and you're trying to pull out your identification to show him such. That's just unacceptable. No reason that you give me stating that, oh, because he did this, he deserved to die. Since when does a traffic stop entail death? No traffic stop that I've ever been through has led to my demise, thankfully. But just the amount of times that this has happened is getting a little out of hand, more than a little out of hand. I spoke with a coworker earlier today, and she was under the impression that President Obama should do something. That would be great if President Obama wasn't on his way out of the Oval and out of the presidency. If the House and the Senate were not fully controlled by Republicans who would block and debate and never pass a single bill or a law that he even tried to put into place. Even the body cams, that was difficult enough, and look where we are. It's still ineffective, it's still not working. It's not making the issue any better, it's probably making the issue worse. Cops feel that they can run around and do whatever they want, and if they kill someone, they're not even that flustered because they know they're going to get off. Everything's going to be considered inadmissible, and before you know it, they're back out on the streets scaring your children and making you wonder if your husband, brother, father, friend is out later than usual. Is it because he was gunned down or just because he's running late? It is unfortunate that that is a very real thought that many women and men in this country have today. The fact that other races will try and sympathize or empathize with us is interesting to me personally, because this problem does not affect you in the same way that it affects me. When I found out about the two murders that happened this past week alone, my entire world was shattered. It was almost like I had known these two men. My emotional, just how I was able to carry myself, how I looked at everyone that I walked past, my emotional state today especially was a mess. I was a wreck, to the point where coworkers were asking, what's wrong? The fact that you aren't even entirely sure of what's going on in the world today, in the United States today, and you have to ask me what's wrong is a problem. I understand that this affects me more than it affects you, but you aren't even paying attention. Why aren't you paying attention? Why isn't this serious enough to other people? Why do people feel like, oh, that's a black problem? That's not a black problem. This should be everyone's problem. Someone needs to do something about this. It's unacceptable. I can't accept that this is the way that it's going to be in this country. If it's going to be this way in this country, I might leave this country. I don't want to have children here and have to wonder whether or not they're going to make it past 18. This is just, it's ridiculous. This is bullshit, to be honest. This country is going to the dogs, and it's an unfortunate and bleak outlook, but it does not seem like much is going to happen as a result. It's going to be another headline. It's going to be another person whose mugshot or photo of them taken moments after their death is going to be plastered all over every major outlet and social media and newspaper and magazine, and everyone's going to have their name, that recently deceased person's name, in their mouths, but for an entirely terrible and wrong reason. In short, this has got to stop. This really just has to stop.
Earlier today, Christina, you was telling me that you had a nightmare, and I was asking if you would feel free to share that nightmare with us on this podcast.
I had a nightmare last night, and that's not particularly new as an adult to have a nightmare, but there was something distinctly different about this one because it involved me being tied and tasered by the police. The scary part about this dream is that it's not that far from the reality right outside of my door, and it's something that's been on my mind for many years now as a black woman, but also this week especially. The fear is so palpable and tangible that it's creeped into my sleep and my dreams. And knowing that I have black brothers and sisters and cousins, a boyfriend, a mother, everybody is subject to becoming a Philando Castile, an Eric Turner, a Sandra Bland, a Trayvon Martin, and Alton Sterling. We all are capable of becoming those victims. We are not far away from it. And that's frightening. It's scary also to see that there is a deafening silence and a deafening roar almost of individuals who do not want to see the reality for what it is. And we have the opportunity now, more than ever before, with social media and exchanging information, to tell truths about our experiences that enlighten and open people's eyes to the other side of things. Because it's much easier when you're comforted and protected in our society from racism or from systemic injustice to write off other people's experiences, especially if you don't really have a connection to those communities or those individuals. And unfortunately, most white individuals in this country, even if they have the best intentions, perpetuate this system due to a lack of knowledge, due to fear of being or saying or doing the wrong thing, due to sound bites and assumptions that they have been taught and have been passed on from their parents to maintain the status quo, and also due to the fact that many of them have an all-white utopia that they operate inside of. They have all-white friends. They live in all-white communities. They go to all-white schools. They work in all-white offices. They live in all-white neighborhoods. And the media itself is also very white and not diversified. So when you have that utopia, and that utopia has been taught to you as the norm and not necessarily just as white culture, of course there are going to be issues. So I keep thinking, what is it that I can do as one individual, one oppressed individual in this system? And I know the power that I have is sharing my voice and perspective. Because at the minimum, it can light the fire in somebody else and motivate them to also light the fire in someone that they know. So it's a chain reaction. Because being apathetic and doing nothing will also change nothing. So even if I do something and only a tiny incremental blip of change is created, it's better than doing nothing. And that's the least I can do to protect the men and the many women who also have not gotten a lot of media time killed by police brutality. It's the least that I can do, and it's the least I can be proud of saying I'm willing to sacrifice and make a change for, because I don't want to live in fear anymore. I don't want my children to live in fear, and I'm not going to leave this world without saying at least I did something to make it better.
Well, first I'd like to thank my 3 guests, Q, Quana, and Christina Blacken, and also Nina Wilson, for stopping by and giving me some of their feedbacks and some of their opinions on justice and peace, and their opinions on the whole racial epidemic of how they're treating us. I like to always leave somebody with some inspiration. I like to say, if you learn anything from this podcast, hopefully you can gravitate towards it and just utilize it and bring it with you wherever you go on your daily journey, wherever you're going to work, school, or wherever you're going, and grow and teach other people and help other people to grow, because your knowledge may be new to somebody else. So just continue to be a teacher, continue to learn, continue to grow, and continue to not shoot people down for wanting to ask questions, and just help them to be a better person, because that's what we want. We want a better police force. We want a better society where we don't have to worry about race and us being killed all the time. So it starts with us, and so we have to do the teaching, and we have to do the learning and the listening. So that's my little inspiration I'd like to leave you for the day. And thank you for tuning in to Church Johnson and Friends podcast. Take care.
The government will not be killing me. No, the government will not be killing. The government will not be killing me. No, the government will not be killing. The government will not be killing me. No, the government will not be killing. The government will not be killing me. No, the government will not be killing. The government will not be killing me. No, the government will not be killing. The government will not be killing me. No, the government will not be killing. The government will not be killing me. No, the government will not be killing. The government will not be killing me. No, the government will not be killing. The government will not be killing me. No, the government will not be killing. The government will not be killing me. No, the government will not be killing. The government